And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Waggs in the state of New Mexico.
John, we are just 2.5 weeks away from the end of election season when it comes to the special election for Prop 50. And as of right now, out of 23 million ballots that were sent out, 1.5 million have been returned, a return rate and a turnout of 6.8%.
That's actually higher than I assumed it would be.
It went up in the last couple of days. If you want to know the breakdown between party affiliation, 7.8% turnout of Democrat ballots, 7.5% turnout of Republican ballots, and those reliable NPPs, no party preference, 4.8% turnout.
Boy, those people just don't give a damn on any level, do they?
Well, you want to talk about not giving a damn. The current turnout rate in Alameda County is 2.4%. And I do have the data here. We do now know the turnout rate in Imperial County in Southeast California with 93,000 registered voters. So far, we have returned 688 ballots, a return rate of 0.7%.
Did you ever see that episode of Married with Children where there was a tax on beer and Al Bundy was full of righteous indignation over this tax? And it passed by, I think, one vote. And I think less than 10 people in all of Chicago voted in that episode.
That's right.
It's a funny episode, so check that out on your streaming services. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. As Randy mentioned, the battle over Proposition 50 is heating up. On one side, you have California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is the man responsible for wrecking the state and wants to be president so he can wreck the entire country. He wants you to vote for it. On the other side is former California governor and father of the California Independent Redistricting Commission, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is fighting not only for the commission, but he's fighting for his legacy. He wants you to vote no on it. CNN's Alex Michelson talked to both men about Prop 50 and got us all the latest.
We can stop Trump cold.
It's the governor versus the governator in California TV ads.
Vote no on Proposition 50.
Voting is already underway.
In a battle that will largely redefine Governor Gavin Newsom's future and former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's legacy.
California will be very unique and very independent.
In 2010, 61% of California voters agreed with then-Governor Schwarzenegger and created an independent citizen commission to draw California's congressional lines, taking that power away from politicians.
We must terminate gerrymandering.
There it is.
The reason that reporters use that term all of the time is because Arnold Schwarzenegger uses that term all of the time.
We must terminate gerrymandering.
I saw that Actors on Actors interview where Schwarzenegger interviewed his son, Patrick, the one on the White Lotus, and he said it drove him crazy going up that Schwarzenegger will not stop doing his catchphrases all day long to everybody all the time.
Oh, can you imagine? At the airport, in the restaurants, at the gym, everywhere he goes.
We must terminate gerrymandering.
Ever since, Schwarzenegger has traveled the country, asking other states to do the same. This year, Texas Republicans went a different way, redrawing their districts mid-decade, hoping to add 5 more Republican seats to the U.S. House.
They fired the first shot, Texas.
Governor Newsom is now asking California voters to approve Proposition 50, which would replace the congressional map drawn by the state's Independent Redistricting Commission with this map drawn by Democrats that seeks to add 5 Democratic House seats.
And takes Norco out of Riverside County for some reason.
And here's what's interesting. Whenever one of these people who supports Prop 50 is put in a situation where someone can ask them follow-up questions, it's crash and burn. Because the essential argument that they're making is that they're really mad at Texas and they're really mad at what Texas is doing. So they're going to punish the people of California in order to get back at Texas. And as someone who lives in California, my attitude is I had nothing to do with what happened in that state. I had no control on either side of it, yes or no, what that state did. If you have a problem with them, take it up with them. But don't punish us for something that we didn't do. And the answer is, well, we have to take a hostage, and you're the person closest to us.
It's funny, in that series of interviews with Julie Watt, the reporter from CBS Sacramento that went viral because of the Katie Porter thing, she asked a whole bunch of the candidates a very simple way to break this down. She said, I explained to my 12-year-old what the fight over Prop 50 is, and she looked at me and said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And when she pointed that to the candidates, including to Baccaria, their defenses got even more insane. So we might have to play that sound later.
This is a scam.
It doesn't make any sense. And they know it doesn't make any sense. It's an indefensible position that they're taking, but they're all on board with it. So they have to do it because they don't want to be the outlier. However, it's not going to work out for them in the long run because California doing what California's doing motivated Indiana and Missouri and Utah and all of these other places to act in kind. So now, instead of whatever Texas was going to do, instead of whatever seats Republicans would gain in Texas, and that being the end of it, now Republicans are going to gain seats in the double digits.
Gavin, on that podcast he went on yesterday, said if California rejects Prop 50, it will be the end of democracy as we know it.
Oh, yeah. What a drama queen.
This is a scam.
Schwarzenegger's only TV interview on this topic was with CNN in September after posting this to social media. F the politicians, terminate gerrymandering.
It's a big mistake. 2 wrongs don't make a right.
See, Arnold says it, and so does Julie Watts' kid says it.
Well, it's easy to understand.
It's that simple.
Were you able to convince him?
No, I wasn't looking to convince him.
In this August interview with Fox 11 Los Angeles, I was first to report about a meeting this summer between Newsom and Schwarzenegger talking Prop 50.
I want him to know that we're maintaining it. And I also want him to know if we are not...
No, you're not maintaining it. You're getting rid of the independent redistricting.
Okay, think about how easy it is to understand the no position. 2 wrongs don't make a right. And think about what Gavin is arguing. In order to save democracy, you have to let me fix elections.
And I also want him to know if we are not successful with this, there'll be no independent redistricting in this country.
He says that it is temporary. You don't buy what Governor Newsom's saying?
Of course not. Look, I've sat there in Sacramento. I've listened to the politicians for 7 years.
Usually with a cigar in his mouth.
Well, Bill Clinton, well, never mind.
They are not interested in giving any power to the people.
What are the stakes of Prop 50?
Yeah, I mean, the stakes are enormous.
Ron Brownstein is a longtime California political watcher. He says
Is that a job?
Well, he used to work for CNN as an analyst because he worked there at the same time as me. Before that, he worked for the LA Times. But I guess by introducing him as a political analyst or a political observer, that means he doesn't work for CNN anymore.
Political watcher. What does that pay?
He says Prop 50 passing could boost Democrat chances to win back the House in 26 and Newsom's potential pursuit of the Democratic presidential nomination in 28.
And is that what this is really about?
This is all about Gavin Newsom wanting to be president and positioning himself as the chief foe of Donald Trump.
Democratic voters see him as not only being willing, but able to push back against Trump.
These are the 5 Republican members of the House who Democrats are targeting with the new map. Among them, Ken Calvert, a congressmember from California's Inland Empire since 1993.
We're in the city of Corona, which is now represented by Calvert. And Republicans we talked to here are not thrilled at the possibility of being represented by a Democrat.
As a Republican, I don't like that. And it would be the same. I mean, if I were a Democrat, I would want my district to represent me.
No, it's absolutely no. And I have a big sign on my yard.
We find a different view in Venice Beach, one of the most Democratic areas in the state.
I want somewhere where we have a little bit more balance.
What?
I want somewhere where we have a little more balance. Okay, I vote for my representative and I get who I want to represent me. And I don't want people in other parts of the state to be able to choose their representatives.
I'm very much against gerrymandering. And yet, what are we to do when they've locked up the Supreme Court?
We can't sit back and
forget all of my moral standards. We got to do this.
Yeah, this is just, I want my team to win and I don't care what the rules are. So you don't care about independent redistricting then.
Can't sit back.
The only way to fight partisanship is with more partisanship.
And she's not even pissed off at Texas. She's pissed off at the Supreme Court.
And talk nicely. We've got to roll up our sleeves and fight. So yes on Prop 50.
It's a Rob Bonta acolyte if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, no kidding.
Newsom and Schwarzenegger both told me that they still have a cordial, respectful relationship. They just have a disagreement on this particular issue. California voters have until November 4th to either return their ballot at spots like this or vote in person.
There you go. Alex Michelson working for CNN now.
And the Yes on 50 team decided to enlist former President Barack Obama to put in their ads.
For more on that, here is NBC4 and Conan Nolan.
California, the whole nation is counting on you. Democracy is on.
Barack Obama getting involved in Prop 50 in a new ad. The former president threw his support behind the high-stakes effort to redraw congressional maps here in California.
As you know, that special election is next month. NBC4's Conan Nolan live on a newsroom with Obama's influence here. Conan.
That's right. We're 21 days from that special election that will decide the fate of what is called Proposition 50, a ballot measure that would introduce a new congressional districting map in California. Across the state, blank ballots are sitting on kitchen counters and coffee tables.
Except in Sacramento, where a whole bunch got stolen and ended up in a homeless encampment.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
Democrats are now rallying to get those ballots mailed in.
California, the whole.
Well, what's the turnout again? 6.8%. We're doing great.
California.
Doesn't matter what the stakes are in any election. Procrastinator's going to procrastinate.
It's the California way.
California, the whole.
And I fully will disclose, I have not voted yet, but I'm not even in the state right now.
California, the whole nation is counting on you.
Former President Barack Obama now endorsing Proposition 50, a measure before voters that would alter California's congressional districts in the effort to secure 5 more Democratic seats in next year's midterm elections.
Prop 50 puts our elections back on a level playing field.
Obama's pitch designed to get loyal Democrats to mail in their ballots. Political science professor Dan Schnur of USC.
Prop 50 supporters understand that if this is a vote about redistricting and democratic reform, that's a tough election for them to win. But in a deep blue state like California, if the election's about whether the voters want to help or harm Donald Trump, that makes it much easier. And that was.
Hey, how come they didn't call Biden to do an ad?
Yeah, that's strange, isn't it?
Or Kamala. We're going to the guy that was president over 8 years ago.
He's such a strange guy, too. I'll tell you, he lives right next to me. And I know many of the people who are in his circle out here. And he's out here all the time. So the fact that he's willing to get involved in a state issue like Proposition 50, which typically former presidents stay out of. How often do you see former presidents get involved in state and local races, let alone state and local initiatives? I can't think of the last time that's happened. Can you?
I can't.
And that was the core piece of Obama's message in this new ad.
Democrats, led by Governor Gavin Newsom, say the measure is in response to the red state of Texas having redrawn their House districts in order to secure 5 more Republican seats. Paul Mitchell helped redraw the new district borders now before voters.
About 80% of the voters are in the same district they were in before, and it still achieves that goal of pushing back on Texas by flipping 5 seats.
Among those leading the opposition, former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, under whose administration the state adopted the Independent Redistricting Commission, whose work under Prop 50 will be temporarily suspended.
What they want to do is take us backwards. This is why it is important for you to vote no on Proposition 50.
Schwarzenegger's...
There's way too much music in that ad.
Well, it sounds like the movies, which is what I'm sure he was trying to portray.
What they want to do is take us backwards. This is why it is important for you to vote no on Proposition 50.
Schwarzenegger's effort is independent from that of California Republicans, such as GOP Congressman Kevin Kiley, who says voters are being misled by the Obama TV commercials.
The reality is that voting for this proposition affects one thing and one thing alone, and that is the kind of representation that we have in our state in California.
But the GOP has already lost what...
They want to take Tahoe away from him.
Well, they want to take the seat away from him.
But the GOP has already lost what some consultants refer to as the underground primary, the effort to raise money for the campaign.
The unanswered question right now is why didn't all that Republican money show up?
You know, to be fair, we had somebody that emailed us saying they were trying to find where they could donate for No on 50, and nobody was making that easy.
Well, I think they're just relying on Munger's money at this point.
Voters will decide the outcome of Proposition 50 on November the 4th. It's a measure that is shaping up to be one of the most politically charged initiatives on California's ballot. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
So there you go. All the latest on Prop 50. You got 2.5 weeks to send back in that ballot.
I think Obama is just an angry, angry man. And I think that he comes out here to California in the heat and just sits here and stews in his own juices. I know people who play at the same golf course as him, and they see him out on the golf course all the time. He plays by himself, and he always has a bunch of Secret Service agents with him. So they take up like half the carts at the country club, and it's him and, I don't know, the Spanish Armada of Secret Service agents, where you see one guy playing and you see 900 carts behind you, and then they come up and they ask, we need to play through. Will you let us play through here? A guy with something in his ear. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we're going to play through. And then he plays through, and he plays around in like 2.5 hours because he's a solo guy playing by himself. I also heard from people who have been inside that house that he stays in, it's not his house. The house belongs to two guys he knows who he met, I guess, in Washington. And he gets the master bedroom. And the master bedroom, which my friend has been in, has a hot tub in the middle of the room.
Oh, my.
Not in the bathroom, not outside, but a hot tub in the middle of the room, smack dab in the middle of the room. How do you not break your neck in the middle of the night when you have to go to the bathroom? And he's never here at the same time as her. They're both here. They're both here at different times. He's a strange man, and that's a strange couple. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've hit the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
Like, let's say you want to find more information on the corrupt LA County Board of Supervisors. Well, you can search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app,
quite frankly,
the iHeartRadio app,
quite frankly,
Spotify,
quite frankly.
Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes.
Quite frankly.
In fact, this is the last time I'm telling you.
That's your final warning.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Ron in Huntington Beach. Ron, hello.
Hello. Thank you for putting me on. I'm impressed with your courage, because you already know that I'm calling to refute what you've said on Prop 50 and the No Kings parade and everything else that you frankly lie about by leaving out a lot of information.
Well, thank you for starting out insulting me, but go ahead.
Okay. The fact of the matter is, I'm not a Democrat. I've been a moderate independent since right after I voted for Nixon when I was 18 years old. Yes, I'm almost 72. And the fact of the matter is that I've been watching our politics for so long. I've done a lot of research on it. I've written a book. In fact, it's not published yet because apparently I don't have the resume for any publisher to publish it. But the fact of the matter is that our two-party system has divided us. And what it's done is concentrated power. And now, over many, many generations and actually centuries, we've reached the point where we have a dictator in the White House because he has no checks. No checks. If you look at the Constitution, the Congress is supposed to check the president. The Supreme Court is supposed to check the president, and neither of them are doing it right now. And so we have a dictator up there, and what he's doing is he's using all of the functions of the presidency when now that he's not being checked to finagle the system. And what he's doing is he's trying to ensure that in the 2026 election, the Democrats don't take control of the House because he knows that if they do, they're going to go after him and all of the unconstitutional and unlawful things that he's done. So the fact that California decided to do what they're doing, which is only a temporary thing of changing or moving away from an independent commission on redistricting, is because of Texas and what Trump forced them to do. So,
all right,
let's
go through your points.
Say what you're saying.
Let's go through your points one by one. You said Trump is a dictator. Do you believe that he was elected in November of 2024?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So you don't believe the election was rigged. You believe it was a vote of the people, and he won the necessary electoral votes to be duly elected by the people.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. We have three branches of government: the executive, the legislative,
not right now,
the judicial. No, we do. There is a Supreme Court.
No, we don't.
There is a Congress of the United States. They may not do things that you want them to do, but they are there and they have their full constitution. Sir, I'm not done.
They have their rump.
Sir, I'm not done. They have their full constitutional authority. Because you don't like the decisions they make doesn't mean they don't exist and doesn't mean that they don't have the power that the Constitution affords them. It means that you disagree with them. So let's move on to Prop 50.
Do with policy.
You believe,
policy.
Sir, I'm not done. I let you go on and on and on with your lies. Let me refute them. Number 3, you said that Prop 50 was necessary to prevent the dictatorship. You're arguing that in order to preserve democracy, we have to rig elections with predetermined outcomes. Do you know how stupid that sounds?
Like Texas is doing.
We live in California. I have no control over what's going on in Texas. And if I lived in Texas, I wouldn't want...
You're ignoring Texas. You're ignoring Texas.
I just referenced it.
Go against what
Sir, I just referenced it. I have no control over what goes on there. You want me to have awful representation in Congress because you're mad at what some other state did. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does, because we're at the end point of our representative democracy. We're literally at the end point of it because of the two-party system.
Sir, you're a hysteric.
Just like you do.
You're a hysteric, and I understand why no one will buy your book, because what you're saying makes no sense. What you're saying is conspiracy theory central, where you believe that the three branches of government don't exist. You believe that democracy has ended. You believe that in order to preserve democracy, we have to rig elections with predetermined outcomes. What you're saying is complete insanity. It's not consistent. And you might be a partisan Democrat. I know you claim to be an independent. I don't believe that for 1 second, because you sound like every host on MSNBC. Well, that shows your judgment.
Nixon.
I don't know if I'd brag about that, sir.
I'm from South Louisiana. I grew up in a very conservative place. I live in California now, but I'm telling you that I am not a liberal by far.
All right. Well, listen, if you believe you know that this is a communist dictator or dictatorship, rather, I would suggest that you study actual dictatorship so you understand what you're talking about, because it sounds like you don't.
Orban, Erdogan, Duterte, Xi, Putin, which Trump is far up his rump. It's like I recognize dictatorships, and I recognize.
No, you don't. If you understood dictatorships, you would not be making the points that you're making. You're ignorant. You don't understand. You do not understand politics. You do not understand government. You think you understand it, but you were sadly mistaken.
How the two-party system corrupted our government, what the founders created. I understand that. I've done massive amounts of research on this. The founders warned us this unbelievably rancidly that they said, do not allow two organizations to alternately control the power and the functions of government. They said that time and again. Read George Washington's farewell address. They said, don't allow it. If you do, you'll end up with a Trump. And that's where we're at now.
If they wanted multiple parties, they would have done what Europe did, which is create a parliamentary system where you have 8 million parties, where the Nazis have a party and the communists have a party and the green people have a party, and it's coalition government. That's not what we have. We have a winner-take-all system, and that produces two political parties. You may not like it, but that's the way it is. Thank you for the call. Boy, I wish I had the last 5 minutes of my life back. Keep knocking on the door of Random House, sir. I'm sure they'll eventually take your call. All right, let's go to John in Pasadena. John, hello.
John went away.
All right, let's go to Ned in Manhattan Beach. Ned, welcome.
Hi, John. This is Ned Momry, live in Manhattan Beach. Long-time listeners, you guys do a great job. I've got two things to say. One, I think you should have Carl DeMaio on for the Reform California organization. He's doing a great job in trying to change.
All right, what's your point, sir?
Okay, my main point is the Los Angeles Angels. And I don't know if I can find I'm writing a letter to the Angels. I've been an Angel fan for 7 years. Can I read this letter? Is it too long? I used to ride my bike to the old Angel Stadium to watch my Angels in the Pacific Coast League. You have a tremendous fan base that you have managed to squander their loyalty. I am most upset to say I will no longer pay any attention to the Angels until the owner, general manager, and scouts are replaced with competent people. You have managed to decimate our farm system to be the worst in baseball. I don't know who evaluates players, but you would think all the picks in the draft, you have come up with some players, good players. I mean, 10 years of high draft picks to end up with what we have. Other than a few select players, very few, the rest of the team is a joke. I mean, we lead the league in strikeouts by a large margin. We have endured your incompetency for 10 years. And speaking of incompetency, how do you let a player like Shohei Ohtani leave our organization without getting anything for him? No prospects, no draft choices. Meanwhile, Ohtani goes to the Dodgers for MVP and a World Series ring. Every time now I look at the paper in the breeze and I see a big picture of him, and it just really pisses me off. Okay.
So this is what it's like to be Roger Lodge?
Yeah.
I was about to say, this sounds like every Angel Facebook page fan group I'm a member of.
Anyway, can I finish?
No.
For 10 years, I'm painfully...
Listen, I love the Angels, but if we were to let this guy go on and litigate every beef that he has with that organization, it would bleed into the Guy Benson show. I thought he was done with the letter. That was a comma.
That was the preamble.
No, the preamble was about Carl DeMaio. And then we get into the problems with the Angel organization. If that went on any longer, we'd hear about Josh Hamilton, and we'd hear about Mo Vaughn, and we'd hear about Donnie Moore, and we'd hear about the bus accident. And Disney should have never renovated the stadium. And how'd they let Rex Hudler go as a broadcaster? It's one of those days. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Is there something in the water today?
Well, look at this email. Michael writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com with the subject line, "What is going on? I think someone slipped me some LSD. Your show has ventured off into the void somewhere."
You know, I was just thinking about that last segment because that guy came loaded for bear. He didn't think he would be put on the show. And on this particular program, we don't care if you agree or disagree, if you have something interesting to say, although in retrospect, I don't know how interesting that was. But in theory, if you have something interesting to say, we'll put you on. You don't have to agree with us. That's not one of the rules. I know it's common in talk radio on other shows. That's not common here. You could disagree. It's America. Go right ahead. But he started off the conversation calling me a liar. Okay, that's your choice. You can do that if you want. Poke the bear. Roll the dice. Make your point and then defend it. And I was just thinking, what must have been going on during that phone call? Now, this man is an author. This man writes books.
Allegedly.
This man has ideas that result in pen to paper. He's been researching for a long time. History, political science, biography, you name it, this man wears many hats. And unfortunately, the powers that be in New York City and all the big publishing houses, they do not want his voice to be heard. They do not want people to read his thoughts. When in fact, those thoughts merit being in every Costco, in every airport, in every library in these United States. He knows what a dictatorship is. And he knows we're living in one right now. Because, you know, in dictatorships, one of the things that happens all the time is if you disagree with the government, you get to go on the airwaves that government regulates. That's the hallmark of a dictatorship. You know, I used to work at CNN, and they used to put me on those international programs late at night. And whenever the subject of China would come up, I would say what I had to say, which was usually not complimentary of the government. I know someone who was in China when I was on. And you know what happens in an actual dictatorship when you criticize the government? The screen went black. And then when John stopped talking, the programming resumed. That's how it went off in China. That's what you call a dictatorship. This guy came on the radio and disagreed with me, fine. Disagreed with the government, fine. Was able to make his points as coherently as he was able to. And that's debatable, how well he did that. But he did it saying that a dictator was in charge of the government, and that was a checkable, provable fact. And he's an author, so he knows. Could you imagine this guy sitting at a Starbucks all day in front of a laptop thinking he's Danielle Steele? Sir, would you like another mocha? How about pumpkin spice? Would you like a cold brew? Don't bother me. I'm not going to get on the New York Times bestseller list with you asking me if I want foam on my drink. Leave me alone. What is this? Some kind of coffee dictatorship? Who's in charge here? Juan Valdez? Juan Valdez riding in here on his donkey trying to tell me what to do. Well, this is America. What a day. What a day. All right, let's go to Tom in Brentwood. Tom, hello. Tom, are you there, sir? Tom going once, Tom going twice, no Tom. Let's go to John in Long Beach. John, hello.
Gentlemen, thank you. Interesting day, to say the least.
No kidding.
Yeah, now, as far as the ball player's family suing the Angels, that's ridiculous because he made the choice to use the drugs. Nobody else held him down and made him take it. Be it he may have gotten himself addicted, but I doubt that somebody forced him to do it the first time. That was his choice.
Oh, yeah. Now, he was able to find the drugs, maybe a coworker. This guy certainly appears to be the one that provided the drugs. But it's not like the organization signed off on it. You can find people who are willing to sell you drugs in just about any organization on planet Earth. It's just a clandestine sort of act. Of course, they want to stay below the radar. If they were above the radar, I'm sure the team would have fired him. The team would have replaced him with someone else. But the whole point is to do it without the team figuring it out. And ultimately, it was Tyler Skaggs who was the one who took those drugs. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Albert in Lake County. Albert, hello.
Albert went away.
All right, let's go to Richard in Mount Shasta.
Hello. I'd just like to say it was Obama that said he had a pin in the phone. Basically, he was going to dictate what executive orders he'd make, and he'd make them. I remember that distinctly. And that was Joe Biden with the automatic signature machine, who was in charge of the White House. We don't really know. Maybe it was a coterie of 6 extreme leftists or whatever. But call President Trump, who every day gets countered by some judge you've never heard of, declaring that he can't send ICE agents to Chicago or Denver or Portland, Oregon. Some dictator the president is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
it's fundamentally someone who either doesn't understand what the word means or doesn't read the news. Maybe he's so busy writing books, he doesn't have time to read the paper.